homicide. None of my niggas scared to shoot. All my niggas down the route, be ready when we spit at you. We gon' be so close at 9, set me off that 45. Something we call homicide. Set me off the 45. Something we call homicide. None of my niggas scared to shoot. All my niggas down the route, be ready when we spit at you. We gon' be so close at 9, set me off that 45. Something we call homicide. It was on a Saturday, I was smoking that Mary J. Hit some weed off in my system. Know this nigga bout to pay me all my cheese. If he don't, I'ma break his knees. Beat him down to the ground because he did not pay my cheese. Stop him up just like a bitch. Fucking your car, grab a stick. Beat him down to...
It's your boy, Faceless One. It's January 5th, 2025. And my last video, I really didn't say nothing about the Shawn podcast. I elaborated and stuff. But a lot of people coming to find out that the podcast and the way the man came up on and he was talking about the stuff he was talking about, this might be a psyop. Like I said, America, we have been infiltrated. This is a matter that I think the people need to come together really for real. You got Ukraine missiles that got snuck in on trains, invisible bombs. How did this man know all this stuff? How? And then off the email, it seemed like the email was getting sent out. It wasn't sent to nobody. Like they was typing it out before it got sent out and he was reading it like that. This shit is crazy. I got a couple videos. I'm not going to do no reaction to these videos. I'm just going to put them off into play and let them run. But I got this one video at the end. A guy shooting into traffic. What is that about? Did he get arrested? I need to look this up more because that was crazy. Anyways, enjoy the video. It's your boy Faceless One. Shit is out of pocket. It's getting out of hand out here. It's 2025. Stay close to your people.
So everybody's talking about the Shawn Ryan podcast last night, but the most insane part came at the very end. The retired Army intelligence officer says that this summer, Iranian surface-to-air missiles were smuggled across the southern border at a legal point of entry. A legal point of entry. Fucking rooster. Fuck him. God damn it. A legal point of entry. They didn't come across the border in like the desert or anywhere, but right through the legal point of entry. And the FBI, they're fucking mad about it, that he told everybody. And oh my God, Alex Jones was right. I heard Alex Jones talk about that this summer. And the retired Army Air intelligence officer, he stated that Trump was aware, and the Secret Service even started flying Trump on commercial fucking airliners instead of Air Force One. They still don't know where the surface-to-air missiles are. There are surface-to-air missiles somewhere inside the United States, and they don't know where they are. What the fuck? And the FBI is out this morning. They got dudes on the fucking news, and they're like, we're the only ones you should listen to. And it's like, if you're listening to the FBI after their fucking horrendous track record of nothing but lies, bullshit, and like being the ones perpetrating the crimes, like, no, FBI, you're fucking done. Get the fuck out of here. Shawn Ryan just blew you out of the water last night with more information than you've ever told the American people. So go fuck yourself. Like, anybody who is listening to the FBI, like, give me a break. Seriously. No. Just no. Everybody needs to keep their head on a swivel. This fucking administration of the last 4 years has set us up for Lord knows what kind of punishment. We all need to be very aware of our surroundings, probably stay away from crowds, because the powers that be are incredibly upset with us for electing Trump, and they are going to punish us. They are ramping up fucking bird flu like the madness. They're fucking saying mask mandates are coming back. I saw that shit this morning on mainstream media. Like, fuck them. Fuck them. No one should fucking even entertain that fucking insanity for even fucking 2 fucking seconds. Like, no to Corona 2.0, not fucking falling for that bullshit again. Jesus fuck. Like, the deep state is the fuck out of hand. 16 days we got left, and we are going to have to fight for every single one of them. My God, good luck, everyone. Long live the Republic.
Whoa, now what's happening with y'all out there? Check this out. Here we go again. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Boy, these folks taking us down a rabbit hole. Now, the boy with the cyber truck, he was on to something, man. He left his last words in the email that they exposed it, I guess, on the Shawn Ryan show. You know what I'm saying? He knew exactly where they was coming from, who owns them, what they're capable of, and what's the plan. And I think that's a small piece of what he gave the guy that, you know what I'm saying, actually read the email and brought it to the public attention. I believe it's some other folks got more evidence what old boy probably gave them. You know what I'm saying? That's why the news is kind of speaking on this now, because I guess it's something that they can't, you know what I'm saying, hide no more. Listen, man. He was saying the motherfuckers are coming from the ocean, you know what I'm saying, from a submarine from China. And they can do a lot of things. And if they want, they can go right into Washington over the White House. They can go wherever they want, and they can cause mayhem and destruction on on the United States. They said we even own some of them. I'm gonna tell you something, man. Don't shrug your shoulders. Pay attention to this shit, man, because the hole goes deep, and we into some serious shit, man. I'm telling you. That's why I always say keep your head on the swivel. You know, because this thing's coming, and a lot of folks don't understand it. They be like, man, why you always talking about this shit, man? Why you don't never have nothing good to say? Because it ain't nothing good to talk about right now. You know what I'm saying? When trouble coming your way, I'm not finna sit here and play hopscotch with you. I'm finna tell you what the fuck going on, because that's what it is. You're coming into some dark days, man. You see the way the year jumping off. What you think? It's already been building up. It's already been building up, folks. The top is about to pop. There's no peace around the world right now. Everybody into some shit. You know what I'm saying? They're going to start recruiting your fucking kids in a little bit. I'm telling you. Don't forget, they changed the age, man. They automatically sign your ass up now. That wasn't just for play. That's for the bigger picture. As we sit over here and go through our shit, other countries are ramping up too. It's a lot of shit going on around y'all head, folks, man. And I wish people will wake up and they'll see what's going on. People say, well, what can I do about it? Educate yourself. Prepare yourself. You know what I'm saying? Try to do the best you can to try to survive what's coming our way. Just being real with you, man. But people are going through the extreme to get the truth out, even if it's costing them their own life. A lot of things happening, folks. Your eyes ain't playing tricks on you. Your mind ain't playing tricks on you. Shit real. You know what I'm saying? And again, use your common sense. Stay your ass somewhere safe. Stop going out here in these streets in these large crowds and shit. You know what I'm saying? Stop spending your money on unnecessary things. Start spending it on shit that you can use, you know what I'm saying, and start prepping. You know what I'm saying? You can't eat a brand new pair of shoes. You can't eat jewelry. You know what I'm saying? You can't drink a car. Use your money for shit that you might need. I'm telling you, it's a lot of threats going on around the world, man. And these folks talking about it all the time on these news channels. They giving you the information. It's just a lot of folks distracted and they don't want to take it. Shit real, man. I'm going to keep on pumping y'all with these messages. I'm going to keep on giving you the truth. But keep your eyes open. Keep your head on the swivel. Y'all step out there. Get it out the mud.
Another reason why I believe the Shawn Ryan podcast was a complete, just absolute psyop that we just witnessed was because of his guest said that Shoe Guy said, I went immediately to the FBI. Like what? He's like, yeah, I immediately called the FBI, and they were nothing but nice, and you know, they didn't know some terms, but, you know, ha ha ha, like silly FBI, but I went to the FBI. And then Shawn Ryan later on said, oh yeah, we need to get this immediately over to the FBI. And it just reeked of just thinking, like, none of us believe that the FBI is on our side. This is the same FBI that locked up J6ers, the same FBI who never actually got to the bottom of the Mandalay Bay shooting. That FBI? You want us to, like, immediately go to the FBI and then them 2 hours later do a press conference? Get the fuck out of here.
Does anybody else think that this Shawn Ryan podcast is government bait? Is that just me? Or, because, like, I don't know, I see, like, a lot of comments being like, oh, well, go watch the Shawn Ryan podcast, he explains everything. Oh, but, and, like, I'm seeing clips all over the internet, even no matter how hard I'm like, okay, I'm not going to feed this algorithm, I'm just going to keep swiping. It keeps coming up. You know what I also think? I'm going to be straight up with you. This whole Luigi situation, I almost think it is a way to get people angry and give them a reason to, like, push martial law. Like, they want you to get angry over it. Like the way that they're labeling him a terrorist when they weren't labeling the people that were driving, you know, the New Orleans situation, the Cybertruck situation. They're not labeling that as terrorist. They want to make you angry so that they can push this new system. Just me? Or does anybody else feel that way?
Another crazy update. Podcast host Shawn Ryan has gone into hiding after he had a guest on his show who claims he had the exact manifesto of the guy who blew up the Cybertruck. The FBI hours later claimed that this manifesto was most likely Livelsberger, the guy who blew up the Cybertruck. Pretty crazy that this is happening to Shawn Ryan. Like I said, he says he's going into hiding after this craziness has transpired, after he literally had a guy on his show who exposed this, and he feels, I guess, that he's at risk. So this keeps getting more insane. The FBI says it's likely this is the real manifesto. But again, pretty crazy times. Hopefully Shawn Ryan's all right. He's just a regular guy. He's a talk show host like me, wanting to hear sides of all opinions. And it happens that his show is, you know, being looked at under federal scope. So can only wish the best for him. Hopefully he's all right and can do his show again after this wild new development.
So I just watched the Shawn Ryan interview on the guy who got the email from the Green Beret a couple of days before the Vegas incident. Everything that they said on this interview coincides with everything that was said at a Congress hearing that I watched on C-SPAN 2 years ago. They showed a simulation in the Pacific Ocean on over the next couple of years, how China was vastly increasing its amount of ships and planes in the Pacific Ocean, and so was Russia. And they showed a simulation that by 2025 we were going to be vastly outnumbered. So therefore, these are the reasons why we're seeing what we've seen with the Dior bags and things like that. On this hearing, I forgot the congressman's name, but he was stating by 2025, by the springtime, that China was going to respond on the Taiwan situation. Here we are. We have President Trump in office. It's 2025. We're seeing drones over New Jersey, over the area where Fort Dix is, one of the top military bases in the country. And this congressman said in 2025, we could possibly be going to WW3 with China. So guys, keep your eyes open and pay attention.
The AI mugshot. I can't get past the AI mugshot. Thank you for bringing that back up. Updated photo. Credit from the FBI. Not even a real name.
So this appears to be a remote control car, an RC car of the spicy variety, because it's got a couple of anti-tank mines on top of it, which I would assume that this is probably intended for the purposes of remote detonation after driving it into a dugout or a trench position of some kind. So that way you can destroy an enemy position without actually going in there personally.
We have a major update about the New Orleans terrorist attack. According to NBC News, a rare explosive was found in the New Orleans attack. NBC News is now reporting that the individual responsible for the ISIS-inspired terrorist attack used a very rare explosive compound in the 2 functional IEDs that were placed prior to the vehicle attack. The officials say that that type of explosive had never been used in a United States terror attack or incident in history. In addition, this explosive has also never been used in any European attack, and authorities are trying to figure out how this individual, this terrorist, got a hold of it. It also remains unclear why the IEDs didn't necessarily explode that were placed in Penn Quarter near Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And investigators are actively exploring whether it was a faulty trigger or a malfunction or some other situation that happened. Now, the FBI still believes that Jabber, the individual responsible, is acting alone. But I will say this news of a very rare explosive being found, something extremely rare because it's never been used, is highly interesting. Come below your thoughts, spread the word, and follow along for all the news you need to know about.
Guys, we got some breaking news. 4 bodies have been found inside a home in Greenwich, Rhode Island. How this all transpired is one of the individuals that was found unalived in the house didn't show up to work on Thursday and Friday. So one of the co-workers ended up calling the police to conduct a welfare check. And when they got to the house, they couldn't believe what they saw. Chief of Police Richard Ramsey was one of the first people on the scene, and he said it was one of the most horrendous and most brutal crime scenes he's seen in his whole 30 years on the job. He also stated there's no word at this time surrounding the circumstances of the deaths and are not looking for a particular subject. As you can see from the picture, the Rhode Island State Police Mobile Crime Laboratory is on scene along with the state medical examiners. Chief Ramsey said that the crime and investigation is contained to the home and he doesn't want to start a panic throughout the community. I'm most definite that this is going to become national news in about a couple hours. So don't forget to like the video, comment down below, and don't forget to follow me because I'm going to be doing updates all day on this. Talk to you guys later.
This is getting weirder and weirder. The more information that comes out about the New Orleans and the Las Vegas attack, the more it makes me question everything. For one, since when do authorities allow the New York Post to do an MTV Cribs walkthrough of the New Orleans attacker's home? Hey, over here, this was his explosive desk where he would make all of his explosives. Over here is his Koran. Look, right here is the FBI warrant with all the stuff they took. He also left some shirts behind. The Las Vegas attacker had an encrypted messaging app called Signal, and according to his friends, the day of the attack, his security number changed. And then after the explosion, his profile picture and his name changed. You know, he didn't make it, so who was making those changes? Also, according to authorities, everything was incinerated in that blast, except, of course, for his forms of identification. Both his passport and his United States government identification somehow remained intact. Also, nobody's bringing up the fact that the New Orleans attacker rented this truck. Notice on the back of the bed, there's no flagpole. But he had time to assemble a flagpole and put it on the back of the truck and fly a crisis flag, minus the CR, from the back and put a crisis flag in the interior of the cabin just to let everybody know who he was standing with, as if he didn't have a lot of other things going on, like, I don't know, planning attack, making sure he found the weakness in the barriers, planting coolers around town. And I'm not even mentioning the other crazy stuff, like the pew-pew wound to the head, and was he or was he not self-driven by a Cybertruck to the front of the hotel. But hey, that's in another video. You can watch that previously. Is it just me, or does something feel very off here? As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Here's everything you need to know and an update on Matthew Liversberger and what's happening right now. So along with them finding the passport, they also found the phone inside this burnt Tesla truck, which had a notes app on it explaining his reasoning behind the Tesla Cybertruck explosion. So the FBI and Las Vegas police have decided to take the route of painting Matthew as somebody with a severe mental illness that was drove to do this and told people it's time to wake up. Military vets move on DC starting now. They also decided to paint him as a Trump supporter, which I feel like is a bad decision because my man rented a Cybertruck, drove it to the Trump Tower, and then blew it up, and you think he's supporting Trump and Musk? I mean, logically, that doesn't really line up. But here's the other note that the Las Vegas and FBI released, basically trying to say, oh, he's over the United States, he's over the leadership, and this is what drove him to shoot himself and then blow up the Cybertruck. If you want to pause and read this, go ahead. This is where things get really interesting, because a man named Shawn Ryan came forward and said, hey, on my podcast, I actually checked through our email, and we had an email from Matthew Liversberger explaining his actual manifesto. When you search Matthew Liversberger email, you'd think that'd be the first thing that pops up, but as you can see, there's nothing talking about it. This is the email that he received where Matt is saying, hey, I've been working on these drones for a long period of time, and now I'm on the run, and the FBI is hunting me, and they think they're going to be able to silence me before I cross this Mexico border. He points out that all these drones we're seeing are actually gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China in the East Coast. But he says that the US also has the same exact power. Now, if you want to know what a gravitic propulsion system looks like, supposedly this is it. Now, I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but I mean, this does kind of look like the drones. He also said along with his knowledge, he also has knowledge of war crimes that he's going to bring forward of the time that when he was in Afghanistan, which happened in 2019. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know we was still in Afghanistan then. Now my question is, did the FBI actually catch Matthew and then shoot him, kill him, then place him in the Cybertruck, and then make it look like this manifesto of a crazy right-wing guy that was trying to rally around Trump and Musk just to kind of throw us all off? I guess the choice is yours for what you want to believe. I will be the first to say, claiming you found his passport but couldn't identify his body, but also knew that he shot himself in the head before blowing up the truck, and then finding his burnt up phone, and then accessing the phone, finding the notes with manifesto. I mean, I've seen movies with less crazy plots than that. Now, take this email with a grain of salt, because it also came from Proton Mail. Shawn could be using this email to get his clicks up, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like he already has enough clicks where this isn't really needed to fake an email from anybody. But I mean, it's from Proton Mail, which means anybody could send it anonymously. But at the same time, there's a lot of information in here that seems like only Matthew Liversberger would know.
Licenses with their pictures on there.
Wow.
Just tons and tons of passports. So that's what you saw in that picture.
So that was literally, you just took that picture. That wasn't from like a week ago. Yeah. That wasn't from like a month ago.
That's all from yesterday.
So what do you do with them? Does anybody care?
Well, we've been waiting for someone to give it to, and everybody keeps pointing the finger. Like, hey, have you talked to this agency? Have you talked to this department? Yes, we've talked to all of them. Stop pointing the finger. We need to figure out who can go through this intelligence that we found. I have working cell phones that we've gotten into. Nobody cares. I have all of this stuff with no one to give it to. These people's names, pictures, fingerprints, everything. And so we don't know who they are, but I do. My team does. Yesterday we found a couple of these. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
This is a notebook with addresses on it.
Ahmed Ali.
Addresses, phone numbers, birth dates. Just we've got into multiple phones just by plugging them in and turning them on, and no passwords. Most recently, and you'll be happy that I'm breaking this on your show. Most recently, we found a cell phone from a gentleman who came from the area between Pakistan and Afghanistan. His phone was unlocked, and he happens to be a member of an organization over there that our government probably wants to know about. And I have hundreds, if not thousands, of these.
Would it be an organization that is on the terror watch list?
It's on the terror watch list for the Pakistani government, not necessarily our government.
So the Tesla Cybertruck car bombing in Las Vegas has turned into the craziest reverse psyop story ever. And it's still developing, but I'm going to run through all of the evidence in all directions that I have found so far, so hopefully it's easy to kind of pick up where we're at right now and see what comes next. First thing, super iconic, not an accident. But the question is, not an accident, why? And who's actually behind it? Because the media is pinning everything on Matthew Allen Liversberger because they found his passport and his ID and a bunch of stuff of his in the car. Though the car blew up, passports always survive. And he's an active duty Green Beret that's been stationed mostly out of Germany and Colorado. And the Green Beret community is digging into this deep and getting sources, and there's so much that's not adding up. And then yesterday, I think it was, the plot super duper thickened when the Shawn Ryan show had this whole expose on this whistleblower scenario where he had Sam Shoemate on, who had apparently gotten an email from this Green Beret dude the day before the bombing. And the email is crazy spicy, but it's a little suspicious. If you haven't seen the Shawn Ryan Show podcast episode yet, you should watch at least the first 30 to 45 minutes. Put it on 2 times speed. You should not believe everything that is said at face value. Remember, both these guys are military intelligence assets, former and current. This is the alleged email that Mr. Shoemate received, but notice that there are spell check red squigglies in here, and there's a cursor, and we've learned this before. This is not how an email appears when it is received in your inbox. This is how an email appears when you're typing it. But this is what the Shawn Ryan Show put out as the email that was received, allegedly. And it alleges that the drones over the East Coast are Chinese tech and that they could bomb the White House at any minute. And it's like this whole, basically it alleges that World War III is about to happen between the US and China, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. And he's like trying to be a whistleblower to like stop it. But if this email is real, it's like the perfect food for the military-industrial complex and for World War III warmongering. But it gets weirder. So the Las Vegas officials and the FBI, who are totally trustworthy, have been assessing the scene. Hey, Gigi, don't do that. Stay over there. That's where they found the passport. They also found an incinerated Desert Eagle, which apparently he used to shoot himself in the head before the explosion. It was dropped on the floor right in between his feet in the driver's seat. And if you know anything about how powerful these guns are, and you imagine shooting yourself in the head with it and then it dropping straight down instead of like just flying into the not to mention that no one has reported any report from a gunshot in the car at the scene at the time, and that is like the most powerful handgun you can buy. A whole conspiracy on this thread is Teslas can drive themselves, and I don't know if anyone's ever tested the self-driving because it'll watch you, and if you don't look upwards, it'll tell you to look or it'll stop the self-driving, so you can't just look down at your phone or close your eyes and go to sleep. But has anyone ever tried it with a dead body that has its eyes open? Because that is probably possible. It's unclear. Because allegedly the remains of the person found in the front seat, though charred, burnt beyond recognition, the DNA did not match the DNA of this guy's recent child. Apparently his wife just broke up with him and they were trying to paint that as like he's angry. It's like Green Berets get divorces all the time. Like maybe the kid wasn't his kid. I think it's more likely that the body wasn't his body. Because again, in the email that was allegedly sent by him, theoretically, it's very clear that he's not planning to kill himself. He's planning to escape to Mexico and to do this whole thing in order to bring attention to this and to whistleblow and to be taken seriously and to get this out to as much news and publicity as possible and then escape to Mexico. He says it 2 different times in this email. The trunk was loaded up with all these crazy fireworks and there was some gas cans in the cab that caused the explosion to it's a little unclear. But it seems like the explosion was intended to not cause a bunch of death, but just to cause a scene. Like he chose his Cybertruck, which is bulletproof, like the worst car to build a car bomb in. And then he filled it with fireworks instead of he's a Green Beret. He could have built a real high power IED that could have blown the building up, theoretically. And then he says in the letter that he's trying to keep a low profile because he's being followed and they attempted to abduct him, but also that he's trying to keep a high profile because they know he has this IED, this car bomb rigged up. And so he got a Cybertruck, which is like, why would you get a Cybertruck? The police have had no trouble tracking the Cybertruck, both in Las Vegas on CCTV footage and on its supercharger route across the country. The police said that they have tracked the purchase of the firearm, specifically the Desert Eagle, back in Colorado. There's a 3-day wait on purchasing a firearm in Colorado, so we had to have initiated the purchase 3 days before leaving Colorado to come to Las Vegas for this event. But then in the email, he gives as confirmation that he is who he says he is. First off, I'm not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. Well, people verified. People pulled his vehicle records, and actually he has never owned a 1996, was it? Ford Mustang, or 2006 Ford Mustang, but his first car was a Ford Mustang, just totally different year. So it's not really could be that because it's 30 years ago, it's his own car 20 years ago and he just forgot the year. It could be why would you put the wrong verification in? You'd think if it was someone else faking the letter, they would get the right verification because they wanted to get verified. You think if it was him, maybe he misremembered it, maybe it's an intentional misverification. People are like, oh, maybe it was in his parents' name because everyone's first cars are in their parents' name. Well, people pulled his parents' car records too. Check out Landry22 if you want to see those on X. But then the Las Vegas police, the officials, released like manifestos that they found on his phone, which was like charred to oblivion. But they found these manifestos that like, this one is basically like, yo, all military personnel, go and take the Capitol right now. It's like really unhinged and retarded. And the other one, like, it's just like, screenshot and read if you want. Like, the other one is just so weird. Then they released like video from his Tesla Cybertruck at the supercharge station that they said was in Las Vegas, but the internet has sleuthed around and pretty much confirmed that actually that was not in Las Vegas, it was in Arizona, because there's a Carl's Jr. Next to the supercharge station. They were looking for photos where there's a supercharge station and a Carl's Jr., and it's in Kingman, Arizona, which is that stop right there before getting to Las Vegas. Plus the Green Beret chatter on YouTube and X, and everyone in the Green Beret and like Special Forces communities that are commenting on this, saying it does not line up at all. Like, he did not have the expertise to understand this kind of stuff about drones. He did not have the clearance. He wasn't even like stationed in the places where they said he was stationed. It's all very sus. Not to mention that he was like a TV star with Tim Kennedy like 10 years ago on some like Special Forces like game show, TV show. Whole other funny rabbit hole. But a bunch of guys know this guy. Like, a bunch of people on the internet right now have done operations and missions with him, or trained with him, or been stationed with him. So there's a lot floating around. And I don't have any answers. I don't know what's going on. But one thing that we can all agree on is that if the evidence starts pointing towards a war with China, or a war with Iran, or a war with Russia, it's probably the deep state setting you up for that war. And if I had to guess right now, here's what I would guess was going on. The military-industrial complex is learning as we go, and they are wise to the way this world works. And seeing how X has debunked all their other bullshit this last year, I'd bet right now it looks like they decided, what if we need to start our psyops using the decentralized media space as our patsy, as our pipeline of information to deliver the information so that the internet thinks it's real. So the internet thinks it's coming from inside the house, right? And so they concoct a situation in which a known and trusted and verified internet sleuth, this dude on Instagram, who is like a military whistleblower, like hub, he's like the dude for military whistleblowers to go to. It makes sense that this guy would go to him. And so they concoct this email that goes out to him. They concoct the scenario whereby it looks like either they got this guy and he's on the payroll, like this Green Beret guy is like in the op, or they captured him and are using him as a patsy, as the fall guy for the op. And it looks like they're feeding the information out into sort of vetted social media decentralized channels so that we are the ones producing the psyop ourselves. And it's just the source information that is actually manipulated. That is what it looks like right now. And keep your eyes peeled, stay frosty, don't believe a single fucking thing you see. And if any of it points to war with Iran or China or Russia, even if it seems credible, it's fucking not. Doesn't matter. We're not going to war. Fuck that shit.
This fight is coming 100% on January the 20th. We will go to the full extent, depending how far this goes. We will go to the extent of cutting off their energy, going down to Michigan, going down to New York State, and over to Wisconsin.
All right, I said I was going to give you a couple safety tips. This isn't rocket science, but here we go. When you're going into a store, when you park your car, get off your phone. Put your phone in your pocketbook or your pocket, whatever, and just stay off your phone. Same thing, going in, going out. Stay off your phone. Ladies, especially you, listen, when you're parked here, if you come out and there's a car parked right beside you, and I mean super close to the line or something like that, that should be a red flag. Is there somebody in the car? Is it a minivan? Has it got sliding doors? Is it an SUV? I'm not saying you can't go get in your car, but just pump the brakes, okay? No pun intended. Just take it easy. Take a little look around. Don't just willy-nilly get in the car. It might be fine. Could be something. I don't know. But when you're getting gas nozzle's doing its thing, lean up against your car. Just lean up against the car. Again, stay off the phone. Lean up against the car. Now you've cut your 360 down to 180. You can see. If somebody approaches you and they're up to no good, spray them with the gas. That's not cool. I wouldn't want to be sprayed with gas. They'll probably run off. When you're in a restaurant, Don't sit with your back to the door. Be able to see the door. Know where the exits are. When you're at the movies or church or wherever, sit on the end. If you're a fighter, you can get up and go fight. If you're not wanting to fight, that's cool too. You can run, but you got to be able to get out, right? Don't be stuck in the middle of the row.